Love him or hate him, there's no denying that Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple, is one of the most iconic entrepreneurs of our time. And what separated this world-class individual from the masses out there were these 5 success habits that eventually made him billions. And in today's video, you'll discover these 5 success habits that you can immediately adopt into your own life to take your success onto that whole another level. So make sure to pay close attention, especially to the final point, as I've saved the most important till last. Without further ado, let's go on to the first success habit, which is to tell great stories. Steve Jobs, without a doubt, was one of the best business storytellers that have ever lived. He understood that talking about features and benefits of his products wouldn't be enough to create a cult-like following. When Steve Jobs made his dramatic return to Apple in 1997, after having been fired in 1985, one of his top priorities was to reinvent not just the company's product line, but the brand's image in a desperate attempt to try and save Apple. As every great marketer understands, storytelling is the best way to persuade and influence others, as stories are powerful, as it makes you feel something. And this is important to note, as people don't tend to remember what you say, but they will remember how you made them feel. And that's why when he was giving a speech in 1997 to his employees while Apple was going downhill, Steve Jobs turned to his audience, looked everybody in the eyes, and began to speak about Nike. He said how one of the greatest jobs of marketing the universe has ever seen is Nike. Remember, Nike sells a commodity. They sell shoes. And yet, when you think about Nike, you feel something different than a shoe company. In their ads, they don't ever talk about their products. They don't ever tell you about their air soles and why they're better than Reebok's air soles. What does Nike do? They honor great athletes. And they honor great athletics. That's who they are. That's what they're about. Jobs went on in the talk to announce Apple's newest ad campaign, which used the tagline, "Think Different." And it featured pictures of legendary thinkers like Albert Einstein, Martin Luther King, John Lennon, and so forth. This ad did not focus on the Apple's computers. It focused on the Apple's mission, and it created a feeling and a sense of belonging. And this is what reinvented the brand Apple as we know it today. So success habit number 1 is to tell great stories. Success habit number 2 is to say no to practically everything. As Steve Jobs once said, it's only by saying no that you can concentrate on the things that truly matter. Carrying on from the story I mentioned earlier, in 1997, when Steve Jobs returned back to Apple, he took 300 products that they were working on at the time and condensed them to 10. And this strategy paid off. From 1 year losing $1.4 billion and 90 days away from bankruptcy, to 1 year later having the company turn over $309 million in profit, and it's all down to power of focus. In later years, he decided to take this on to another level, and he decided he will wear the same outfit every single day so he doesn't have to waste his time thinking about what to wear, so he can focus on the things that truly matter. In fact, Steve Jobs often used to approach Apple's design chief John Ive and ask him, how many things have you said no to today, to ensure he was staying focused. As Steve Jobs understood the power of focus, as you get more of what you focus on in life. And Steve Jobs realized that focus is not about saying yes, but saying no to 100 other good ideas, as that way you can work on becoming world-class in the handful of products that truly matter. And that is the second success habit, which is to say no to practically everything. The third success habit that made Steve Jobs a billionaire is to have a big mission that uplifts you every single day. Steve Jobs stated in 1980 that the mission of Apple is to make a contribution to the world by making tools for the mind that advance humankind. You might have noticed how there's not a single mention of making passive income while sitting on the beach. None of that BS. Because one of the things that world-class individuals have is a big mission that's beyond themselves. It's not based upon their ego of what they desire. They want to leave a lasting legacy. And there's nothing that focuses a human mind and energy more than knowing what your life truly stands for and having a cause that you're giving your life to. And this is what you see as a common pattern amongst the billionaires out there, as rarely are they driven by money, but more in terms of the impact that they want to leave, how they want to be remembered when the time has truly come. And this is why Elon Musk's mission is to make humanity a multi-planet species. The question is what's your mission right now? Because when you find something that you're willing to stand in front of a bus to defend it, you'll never be lacking motivational energy. You'll be driven beyond to make this a reality. That is the third success habit, which is to have a big mission that you connect to every single day. Let's go on to the fourth success habit, which is to practice speaking. You see, Jobs understood the power of having great speaking skills, being the face of Apple. However, Jobs wasn't naturally gifted when it came to speaking. In fact, he was seen visibly nervous during his first live television interview in the 1970s. But he improved over time as he kept on striving towards mastery like any world-class individual would. As great speaking skills is something that most people know is important, but rarely do they commit to it. So successful people know that this is their unfair advantage that they can get over the masses out there. Because if you're able to communicate very well with total clarity, that allows you to persuade and influence millions of people out there. And it's incredibly hard to make it to the top without this skill, having mastered it. As truth be told, most people can talk, but very few can actually speak. This is why Steve Jobs kept on practicing it until he began to master the speaking skill. And he understood the key to being able to become a great speaker is not to be like a boring lecturer or a teacher. It's in fact the total opposite, which is to be more authentic, more human, and be more relatable, as that creates a likable character on the stage that we can all watch and listen to. And this is what Steve Jobs did very well in order to influence the masses out there. In every presentation, Steve Jobs educated, entertained, informed, and inspired his audiences, and that's what made Apple billions of dollars. That's the fourth success habit, which is to practice speaking. Final success habit that made Steve Jobs a billionaire is to do what you love and you're truly passionate about. In fact, Steve Jobs stated this in his Stanford commencement address: the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it. Steve Jobs truly cared about his work. He was incredibly detail focused. He even cared about what his products look like on the inside because he truly loved what he did. This wasn't a 9-to-5 job. This was his mission. This was his legacy. This was his true purpose and calling. Because after all, when you find the work that you truly love to do, you don't have to work a day in your life. And the world-class individuals out there, this is what they all got in common. They love what they do. They're driven by it. This is their purpose and mission. And this is what allowed Steve Jobs to keep on persevering to make the best products out there. These are the 5 success habits that made Steve Jobs a billionaire. The first success habit is to tell great stories. The second is to say no to practically everything. The third is to have a big mission beyond yourself. The fourth is to practice speaking. And the fifth is to do what you love and you're truly passionate about. If you found today's video helpful, be sure to click that like button and comment below inside if you want to see more videos like this. And make sure to share this video with a friend or loved one who's got to hear this message, as life is all about paying it forwards. And as always, inside the follow heart, my friend, and take action and go live the life you're truly born to live. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.